Hi everybody, this is Raquel Palmisi and welcome to this recorded version of Wisdom Wednesday here in my garden. It's good to be with you. I wanted to address something today that is something that so many of the people that I work with and know, and including myself, have struggled with, are struggling with in their life, and that is what and how do I understand and reach for my next level of expression in this life. And by level of expression, what I mean is it could be a career up-leveling, it could be a change, it could be the way we do our days, it could be a beingness of who I am, how I'm doing my life. It could be things outside of work that are calling us, and art, how we parent, how we relate to others. We have this feeling that there is a next, and we don't know how to get there, and it can actually drive us crazy. We ask friends or family, and of course that can add to the confusion because people tend to advise us based on what they think they know about us or their fears for us or their own experience of their own lives, which may have nothing to do with how we are supposed to navigate ours. And there's a lot of books and teachers and people who try to get us aimed in a direction that might satisfy the deeper callings of us. And yet, the question can remain, I'm not sure. I don't see it, and I'm actually afraid of embarking on a whole path towards something and then not having it be the right thing. It's confounding. And one of the problems is that we live in a time and a place where we can choose things. We're not like automatically guided to a lifelong job. Things have changed dramatically. We have more choice than we have ever had in the history of human beings, I think. And yet that choice itself can be a burden that is impossible to haul around. And unless we know from a very early age, okay, I want to be a doctor, and we set ourselves on a course and we go to school and we do the thing. And we get the learning done and we get our license and we begin to practice. And even in that, I've worked with doctors, with lawyers, with teachers, with pastors, so many of whom feel that they reach the apex of what their skills have taught them, and they feel there's got to be more. But how do I get there? And how do I know if I'm not just restless in my job, if there indeed is something really calling me? So the thing to realize is that for most of us, backing up to the time we have been children, we have been collecting a toolbox of skills and knowledge that all through school we have tried to learn subjects, some more successfully than others, like the experience often of trying to learn mathematics. A lot of us resist it. we don't understand what we need it for, we'll resist it. We'll try. We want to pass our tests, so we'll apply ourselves. And we'll gain, hopefully, the intellectual knowledge of A plus B equals C, and we'll understand it. And we'll even start maybe understanding how this is so useful in our lives. Maybe not. But it is useful in our lives, and at some point we realize all of that. But along with the intellectual learning is even greater learning, that we have learned how to learn, that we learn that we can basically apply ourselves and absorb knowledge. That what we learn of how to open ourselves to learning is a skill that we never ever regret, unless we fight it so much that we dismiss it out of hand and we never gain that knowing that we can figure these things out, that we can learn, that we are creative. So the learning on all these different levels that we learn in school carries out into, say, our first kind of jobs. And we can look at those jobs as being kind of soul-sucking, being bossed around and told what to do, and we may not like it at all. But what we're learning there is invaluable if we allow it to be, and can make a difference in our whole lives. We're learning interpersonal relationships. We're learning cooperation. We're learning to not be in a war because we think we're too good. We learn to deal with our arrogance, our entitlement. We learn to appreciate making money, even if it's just a little. These are skills that can build out into a lifetime of growth and success, if we let it, if we recognize it as that, as a toolbox that we're actually building. And as we become more and more efficient and growing within whatever paradigm of work or life we're in, at some point we start feeling a little restless. But not the kind of restless that's just, I hate this job or whatever, I hate what I'm doing. The kind of restlessness that is actually something calling us. Actually something that is trying to come into our lives. We can feel it. The best example of that is a lawyer that I worked with. He was a very successful corporate lawyer. But for years, she had this weird emanation. She kept hearing the voices of children, and she had no children of her own, nor any desire to have any. And still, she kept feeling these children out there, like in an auric field around her. And because she's practicing this spiritual work, she just couldn't put it aside. She felt that there was something trying to happen, and she didn't understand what it was. Oh, even like little kids that much, she would say, what is this about? It's beginning to get louder, and it's making me very nervous. So the process for her was to get really quiet, get out her journal, breathe into this nagging feeling of something calling her that she had no idea how it's meant to manifest in her life, or even if she wanted it. But she knew that spirit was involved here. Somehow she knew. So she began to write in her journal and ask these children, why? What is going on with me? Why, for years, do I keep hearing your voices, even though I don't understand a word of what you're trying to say to me? And gradually, as she was willing to open up and let go of her own concerns and ideas, this fragile line of communication began to happen. She began to hear, your work is with us. Your work, all of your skills, all of what you know, is meant to be with us and for us. And of course, you can imagine the process that set up in her. And after a lot of work and releasing of her own resistance, she surrendered and found her real work. And the way it came, and the way it came to me and many others, is maybe a gift for you to listen to right now. Because it came to her as she let go of thinking she needed to know how to get there. She realized this wasn't like going back to law school and having a goal and getting a license and a degree. This was different. This was sitting back and allowing herself to be an invitation to what was trying to come to her. And as it arrived, she realized that she just needed to do some of the due diligence, as she would call it, to discover what's out there, what in the material world is out there. And she began to realize that she would know when she discovered the right organization or the right path, that she would hear it and she would know and she would discover it, and she began to trust that the universe was trying to bring it to her. And it did. And it was some work. And it was continual letting go. And it was taking a big cut financially that got traded for an extra large helping of love and fulfillment, and continues. So yes, finding our next level of expression doesn't mean it's our whole life's work. It might mean that we're simply being offered an experience of being close to something and having it come into our lives. Having nature be able to speak to us as the artists that we are. Often we have to let go of our need to have an ego dream about the whole thing, and let go of maybe wanting to be motivated by wanting to be a rock star musician, for example, and let go of that ego need and have that be replaced with a true love of music. Maybe it's not how we make our money or support ourselves. Maybe we're drawn into the learning and the making of music as a thing of joy and beauty. And who knows where that might take us at the end of the day, but we don't have to drive towards it. Rather, we open to receive it and then do the work of letting it come all the way in. So this is something to think about and allow into our lives continually as we go through life. I see this little yellow orb here in my picture. I'm enjoying it. And maybe the up-leveling that we feel is actually a calling from our own spirits or from creation itself to open us to a bigger version of who we are. And that is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Thank you. All my love to you.